We simply don't have, listen to me carefully, the United States does not have enough ammunition, whether that's offensive or defensive missiles, and the industrial capacity to make more to sustain a war for Ukraine, to sustain a war for Israel that could be open-ended, and potentially our own war if we get involved in the Middle East with Israel against Iran. We don't have that capacity. We ourselves will start running short of all these critical areas, and then Israel itself won't happen, Ukraine won't have it, and then Russia, who does, is going to continue to roll forward. That's the truth of all of this stuff right now. That's how all this connects, and it's all bad for us, which is why President Trump should be saying, get this Russia-Ukraine war off the table. And Israel, pull in your fangs and go to ground here, because we're not going to go down this path. I hope that and rather the previous interpretation of Trump is why he's given this additional 2 weeks, that maybe people are getting some spreadsheets into him and saying, sir, this ain't going to work. Well, I get what you want to do. We don't have the capacity to do it. So don't start something that you can't finish. Hopefully that's what's going on, and we can get that. That's what Trump, if he cares about the other 3.5 years of his administration, he needs to get these wars off the table right now by the most efficient means possible, so that he has a chance to focus on these others. Otherwise, he's going to lose the war to Russia. They're going to win it. So we're going to, by default, be seen as losing it. It will be on his charge. You can't blame Obama or Biden on that one. That's going to be yours. You've already owned it because you didn't get rid of it already. So it's already yours. And if it loses, now you get blamed for it. You can't win this war, I don't think, in the Middle East. At least there's a very low chance of it. That all Iran has to do basically is survive, just like the Houthis did. We tried all this stuff to try to keep the Red Sea open, didn't do it, so we just washed our hands of it because we couldn't stop them. That's just the Houthis. You see, Israel has tried to destroy Hamas. They haven't. After nearly 2 years of war, they still haven't done that. And then you think that now the much bigger Iran, this is whatever it was, 16 times I think it was, bigger than Israel, and massively bigger than the Houthis, that somehow we're going to knock them out with a week or two of missile strikes? I mean, that seems pretty unlikely to me. You can expend all of your stuff, spend billions of dollars, and then fail there too. And then now, because you focused on there and you've split your own coalition at home, now that you're going to fail on the domestic front. You see where this is going, folks. If Trump keeps going down this path, he's going to harm himself. He's going to harm his political party. He's going to harm the Americans. He's going to help lay the foundation for the loss of huge numbers of Ukrainian citizens, more of their troops. And then Israel itself is going to remain in this messy cauldron, most of which is its own making. And there's not going to be any solution, not any end to it. So there won't be any peace for Israel, because they want to kill their way to victory, and they're not going to. Folks, it's just not going to happen. There's no rational path to it. It's all they're doing is building up even more. And unfortunately, there are those in the United States that don't want to hear that. In fact, we have Lindsey Graham, who certainly doesn't care about anything in the Russia-Ukraine war, has no interest in seeing that war come to an end. But in this one over here in the Middle East, he's like saying, we ain't gone far enough yet.
The days of expecting Israel to sit on the sidelines and not go to the heart of the beast are over. Take this regime down, make the world a better place.
Take the regime down. Like, that's all you got to do, man. Just say it. See, he thinks this is Syria. He thinks it's Bashar al-Assad, and you could just kind of lob a few missiles in there and maybe arm some opponents of Syria inside there, and bam, in only 13 years, then you have a regime change. And now who's in charge there? Commodore Jeremy, on our previous show, pointed the painful fact out that the guy who's in charge there now in Syria, a guy named Jilani, was himself an Al-Qaeda fighter. He was an ISIS fighter. And now he's changed his stripes and he's put on a suit and cut his beard and looks all nice and stuff. And now he's gone to Western leaders, but it's the same guy. It's far from sure that that's turning into a really good thing. He's trying to play nice with the West right now because he needs their money. We'll see how long that lasts, but that's the kind of person that you have in charge. And they have already gone through some pogroms and some purges that's killed a lot of people, Alawites, Christians. Lots of people have been killed in Syria as he tries to consolidate power. Wouldn't surprise me at all if even his coalition eventually turns on each other. Happens a lot in that part of the world. We'll see. But that's all we have won so far after 13 years in Syria. And if you think that's going to happen in Iran, we already have some experience with that when the CIA supported the coup against the Mossadegh in 1953, which brought the Shah into power, who was very Western friendly. We loved him. It was good business for a while, but he turned out to be an autocrat himself and a horrible leader, and was horrible to the people in Iran. And that's what gave rise to the revolution that led to the mullahs in 1979. So there's no reason to think that you're going to have some new Western person that's going to change the dynamics of, some large portion of the population. A lot of the population does want something like that. They don't like the regime at all. They hate the regime. They've been trying to protest against it for decades without success. So there's a lot of people that would support that, but that's something that they've got to do internally. If you force it from the outside and you think it's going to turn out good, it's probably not. If it succeeds at all, it's probably not going to turn out well. It is. But and Lindsey Graham has no concept of how hard it is or how would we even do that. And you want to go on this situation, we're just going to assassinate everybody we don't like. Listen to me. Listen one more time here carefully. Right now, that's easy for him to say. It's easy for us to call. Lots of people support that in the United States and in the West, certainly in Israel. Just assassinate everybody you don't like. And, it's funny. When we do it to them, we're like, yeah, that's cool, man. That's a legitimate tool of war. We can get it done. But when the shoe is on the other foot, we have a rather different view. I want you to watch this video between Tucker Carlson and Senator Ted Cruz talking about what it would be like if it happened on the other foot.
I'm asking about your allegation and the Prime Minister of Israel's allegation that Iran is trying to murder the president.
Killing terrorists is a good thing. Killing people who are trying to murder Americans is a good thing. Because if you're America first, you want to protect America, and so killing Osama bin Laden was a fantastic.
But you don't
day
really
for the
believe
world.
that they're trying to murder Trump, or you?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Then why aren't you calling for military action against Tehran right now?
Because they're not very effective. In terms of hitmen, their hitmen are not very effective. I do think.
So they're hitmen, but not the bad kind, the efficient kind?
No,
what are you saying?
They're a weak country who is on its knees, and I think we need to.
Then why are we so afraid of them? Why are they the biggest threat if they're a weak country that's on its knees?
Because they're trying.
I'm trying to keep track.
They're trying to develop. Be a little less snarky.
I know, you're right. That is a problem that I have. I'm sorry.
Be a little less snarky. I mean, you see Tucker was just carving up one side and Cruz was just playing right into his hand. I mean, it was kind of embarrassing to see. But you see, Cruz is ready to say we should go to war with Iran because they allegedly tried to assassinate Donald Trump. Well, you realize that Trump did assassinate their version of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Qasem Soleimani, in January 2020. So that's already on our ledger. And now you see Israel has just been assassinating people left and right, both in this conflict as well as in the Hezbollah situation. And listen, you make that a normal part of war. Why in God's name do you think that our opponents won't adopt it? And so whether Iran was doing it, I don't have any independent knowledge. I've read the reports. Some claim they did. Some say it's all made up. I don't know. Maybe they did. Certainly, you would see they had motivation because you assassinated some of their folks here. You've assassinated some of the leaders of their proxies, et cetera, with Nasrallah and several other people in the Hamas movement, no matter where they were, et cetera. So it's a routine part of what we're doing here. And now it's easy. They don't think about it as killing anymore. It's just take them out. And so killing is somebody else is really easy. But one day, folks, it's going to come back on us. And you're going to see, I'll just tell you right now, I'll predict as long as the day is hot, that if it happens to the United States or any Western country that one of our leaders is assassinated by some of these people, there will be a massive outcry. Oh my God, we need to go to war with whatever country that guy came from. And no one will think twice about it. And no one will be aware that we've been doing it to them with impunity. Why do you think they would do it to us? We don't. We think that, no, it's cool for us to do it to you. You can't do it to us. And if we do it to you, you deserve it. And so be quiet. But if you do it to us, it's game on, dude. We're going to war and we will burn your country to the ground. That is a world of power politics. I don't care who you are. And I don't care if this makes anybody angry. There is no morality in that. That is pure power politics. That is pure running that we will do whatever the hell we want to do. And if you don't agree with it, I will kill you. That is not the kind of country I want to be a part of. That is not the kind of system that I want to be a part of. Do not insult me by saying we want all these countries to follow this rules-based order that has been, keeping the world good since the end of World War II. That is BS. Don't say that anymore, because your actions that you see Cruz talking about there, that you see Lindsey Graham talking about there, that you see Benjamin Netanyahu talking about there, and maybe Trump doing the same thing. Maybe he's getting ready to do the same thing and launch a war, even though he was elected not to start wars, elected to get us out of the wars that we're fighting. He said he was going to get us out of Ukraine and end that war in 24 hours. And now here we're rolling into the 4 months, I guess close to 5 now. And there's still nothing to show for it. He hadn't taken any action. He has plenty of ability. He could have done a lot to stop the slaughter in the Gaza Strip. Instead, he seems to have fed it. He could have stopped this war from happening here. Instead, he seems to have greenlit it. And now then you see that he's either impotent, he can't stop it, or he's complicit in it. I don't know which, but all I can tell you, folks, is what's on the ground here. When you see words coming out of people's mouths like that, and they're enthusiastic about assassinating other people and leaders of other countries that they don't like, and then crying foul when it happens to them. That's not the kind of a world that we want to live in. And if you want to be the shining light on the hill like we used to be, at least Reagan aspired to it. And many of our people, most of our people aspired to it. We actually wanted to. The policies were often, bad and inefficient, but the heart was good. And we at least tried, for the most part, to actually be that way. Now we're not. Now it's just about power. But we don't want to call it that. We don't want to call it American empire. We don't want to call it any of these things. We still want to have the language and the cloak of that we're the moral one. We're the one that are trying to do the right thing. And it's those evil guys everywhere else that's at fault. Look at what's actually going on. Look at the policies that we're advocating. Look at the actions that we're taking. And then you tell me, look in the mirror, and you honestly, even if you're one of those who's probably angry hearing this right now, look at the actions and tell me I'm wrong. Look at you can say that these other people are wrong too. It's not one or the other. I'm definitely not defending anything that Putin's doing. I'm not defending anything that the Ayatollah is doing. I'm not defending anything that happened with Hezbollah or Hamas or the Houthis. I'm not defending a single one of those. What I am telling you is, in fact, the only thing that I'm not defending anything, but I'm telling you, if we want to be the moral people that we claim we are, then we have to change our policies. That means you don't get to do everything that you want. That means if Iran doesn't do everything that we want, we just don't kill them. That doesn't mean that if Russia doesn't do what we want, we keep sending more ammunition and weapons so that their soldiers can keep getting killed. And then we want to have this degree of separation going, we didn't do nothing. We're innocent in all this. We're just helping these guys out here. That works for your population. Everybody else in the world sees it for what it is. You're just using the tool of Ukraine to kill Russians. That's all there is to it. It's black and white, folks. There is some moral clarity here. It's not hard to see. This is not the kind of country I want us to be. This is not the kind of West that I want to be a part of, that I want to put forward. I want us to have better than that. I want us to be better than this. I want us to do the right thing. I want us to have that moral stand, so we have the moral power, so that we have the ability to try and coerce people to do the right thing in other countries, because we ourselves live by the same standard that we're trying to impose on you. Then you actually have some hope for that. Right now, we've got none. Right now, these seeds that we've been seeding by assassinating people left and right and joyfully calling for the deaths of others abroad, folks, it's just human nature. It's human history. One day, that stuff's going to come back on all of us, and we won't like it then. And then there could come a time, especially if the economic situation deteriorates and we go through a severe economic recession or possibly even a depression. And all of a sudden we don't have the ability to fund all of these things, and we start falling back because we just don't have the capacity. There are going to be those who eagerly take advantage of that. And then we may end up on the receiving end of some of this stuff. And I promise you, we won't like it then. So let's don't find out. Let's don't get to that point then. Let's start to right the ship now before it's too late. Trump has bought us a couple of weeks, apparently. Let's do everything that we can to encourage that to turn into actual diplomacy. I don't care what Israel wants. I care what's good for our country. And what's good for our country is not getting into a war with Iran and saying, if you want to keep fighting, have at it. That's your deal. I don't recommend it, but you're not going to do it with any more of our stuff. And then we'll see how fast they find a diplomatic solution as well. Same thing in the Gaza. You start shutting off our weapons, and now then no more supplies from us, and you're not going to be able to continue on this open-ended thing where you're just slaughtering people every day. You can't do it. They don't have it. They don't have the industrial capacity of their own without the United States to do that. Same thing for Ukraine. You can do all of that. We have the power. Trump does have the power to turn this stuff around in a positive direction by just using the leverage he has and doing what's right. Doing what has a chance to succeed instead of all these other things that don't have a chance to succeed. It's better for Trump, even if you take the morality out of it, even if he doesn't want to do what's right. This is what can work. And it has the benefit of being right too, because it ends killing and the death and destruction all over the place, and it's not going to solve anything. So don't reinforce failure, because right now we're reinforcing failure all over the place. And we haven't even talked about the Indo-Pacific. That could blow up at any time, and especially if some other things start falling apart, because China's also helping Iran. Apparently, they've been sending some supplies in just the last 2 or 3 days. We don't know how far that's going. We don't know for sure what all that includes, but they're paying attention. They're involved. As I told you, they have incentive on the regime not falling. So it looks like that they're doing something to help them out. We just don't want to add another disaster to this. So I really hope this 2 weeks turns into something good, and that, God willing, some common sense will fall into Trump's circle, and he'll make the right decision. We will see, because we're unintimidated and uncompromised, and we will bring you the truth no matter what it is. And we will bring you any news that's breaking. If anything changes, if anything comes out of the Middle East or the Russia-Ukraine war, etc., we're going to bring that to you. Thank you very much for joining with us today. Please understand or know or remember that we are also on a podcast, because I know a lot of people like to get their information from a podcast. They don't have time to watch the video all the time. Apple Podcast, Spotify, Podcast Addict, type in Daniel Davis Deep Dive, and you'll find us waiting there for you. Thank you very much, folks, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Daniel Davis Deep Dive.